to tell you, I'm so very excited to have 5 Seconds of Summer here. Hello, guys.
Oh yeah, three quarters of the band.
3/4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, almost.
Almost, yeah.
I'm happy to have the ones that I can't have. I know Ashton isn't here today, but guys, seriously, I know everybody's excited. We got a brand new record on the way. Let's do it a little bit later this year. We're ramping up with a couple singles so far, and I'll throw this out to whoever wants it. Do you find, like, I know the original like record deal and everything sort of ended, and this, are you more of an independent artist right now? Is there more control? Is that what I understand?
We absolutely are. Like, by definition, we are. But also just even mentally, I feel like we're in a place. Sorry, that was a loud car. Even just mentally, I feel like we're in a place where we feel more kind of reliant on ourselves to make the music and to release it and to promote it and kind of like come up with the ideas for like the video, just everything. We're sort of in a place where like we're really, I definitely think the word independent is wrong, because there's 4 of us and we're kind of all collaborating with each other, and sort of like, we'll always rely on another person in the band to like, in whatever that aspect is or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yes and no, I guess, to the answer, but I guess yes and yes in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost surprising, because you guys are such a huge entity, to be able to kind of step off like that, to take it all on your own. I mean, that's completely commendable. I guess is what I'm saying, and impressive what you're going on here. So that's it. You get into the record as we got going on. Do you then have these conversations of where, like, is it just like the album becomes what it's going to be, or is the conversation says this is what we want this album to be?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go, dude.
I think
How about I go?
yeah, you go. I think this album, it's hard to say exactly and pinpoint like when. There wasn't really like a discussion of like, we're going to make the album that sounds like this. Is obviously thoughts, and like, you send playlists to each other, and you sort of talk about the feeling you want to convey. And we've been talking about being a band for 20 years, since we were fucking 15 years old. So there's always like an essence of like, we're going to keep making decisions that promote longevity in the band. But going into this album musically, we sort of stumbled across something different for us. And I think Complete Mess, the first song we put out, which is why we put it out first, was the first thing we made, just the 4 of us, with Michael producing it. And that was a really beautiful moment. And I think dominoed the rest of the songs and the rest of the album. And the way we made that, and the way we just we went out to Josh Retreat, just the 4 of us, and it was made in a very youthful sort of, I hate saying fun, but a youthful, fun way. So that sort of directed where the rest of the album, was made, and how it was made, and what kind of music came out, and the story we were telling, and the way we're speaking about it now, even. So that was sort of like the first domino to fall. I know I'm using a domino metaphor, but it really was like the first thing that started it off. And then after that, so I guess that was like the first sort of taste of what it felt like and what it was going to be like. Yeah.
I hear, as I understand, major chords for this album are quite the brave new world for you all.
Major chords are in, man.
It was so weird, because it wasn't like a conscious thing where we were like, oh yeah, so let's go into this process, like, making things sound more uplifting or whatever. It's just kind of, as we got in there, we were, and we tried to write, like, darker songs, and there are some on the record for sure, but they just weren't coming as easy as like uplifting, positive, sort of like, and beautiful sounding songs were. So yeah.
I honestly don't know when that switched. We just wrote so many, like the 4th album was just so dark and heavy, because of the way we were feeling at that time, and sort of what we're into, I suppose. So after that, it was just like a lot of, I don't know. I remember trying to sit down and like be like, all right, we need to write something like fucking not major and like big and grand, and I don't know. And I couldn't I couldn't even do it. It didn't even make sense. I was like, I hate starting on the 6, which I hate starting on the minor 6. It sounds bad, doesn't feel right. And I think that which is a very nerdy thing to say, I suppose. But I don't know. I just sort of felt that was the way we wanted to take it. And I think going into playing these live shows, I think it just sort of catered to a bigger audience and a more uplifting environment. I think we want to be something to, not that we're ever like a downer, we're always having a good time on stage, but we want it to be something to look forward to after 2 years. And I think maybe that internally, subconsciously was like brewing as we were coming to do shows. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely more major chords are in.
With you, Luke, and I don't know if you can speak to Ashton at this point too, but you both had solo records that did come into this, and as I guess I'm wondering if that had effects on this record, in the sense that especially when you read some interviews, when I read some interviews, when you read like critics or anything, there's always that confronting dark moments of your record, and as you talk about this record being extremely introspective, I think is the phrase that's been tossed around quite a lot. I mean, what effect did the solo records have on this one?
Definitely been tossing around introspective a lot. I've been lobbing that around.
And Domino.
Yeah, Domino. That's a new one. I think it had it had a lot of different effects, but I think for me it just it was such a weird time I guess we're still technically in it, but like in that hardcore time where we were just at home all the time, I needed to do something. And I think going into, once I'd sort of made something on my own, or even had the beginnings of making something on my own and written some of those songs about some different topics and about, I don't know, just exploring a different area, it allowed me to understand myself more and understand my role in the band when we went to go back to making music as a band, and miss making music with the band. And I don't know, I guess I just honestly it really was just like I had to work through some things, and I think much like therapy, I suppose, work through these things and be like, okay, well, now I understand this about myself, and this, now I can go and write with the band and have a better understanding of myself, which sounds very simple, but it made such a difference to me in my headspace. Yeah.
Was